Hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I have this stamp set that I am going to combine these three stamps to make a beautiful geometric design on a card. It is so fun to create these designs when you have stamps like this, and so today we're going to do a really fun technique that's super easy, and we're going to create this card here. You can see that there's three different stamps inside of each other. To start out, I am just going to mark the center of the card here and draw a really light pencil line on both sides. So I'll create one going down the middle, going vertically and also horizontally. That's going to help me to line up the stamps when I first get started here. And I'm going to go ahead and use the MISTI for this first portion to line up the stamps. So you can see that I'm doing this first one just left of center, and I am lining it up with the center line going horizontally and then just left of the center vertical line. I hope that makes sense. I am using the VersaFine Onyx Black ink, which is one of my favorite black inks to stamp a really dark impression. I'm going to stamp it there on that side of the MISTI, and then I'm going to turn the paper around and stamp it on the other side. Then I'm going to move the stamp, and in order to not accidentally get ink on the card, I have my acrylic piece of, well, it's from the Stamp-A-Majig, and I just set that in there before so that I can pick up the stamp with the MISTI and not accidentally get ink where I don't want it. So I'm going to do the same thing, stamp it on one side, turn the paper completely over, stamp it on the other, and then I realized that now I need to stamp it off the side of the paper. So I was using my mini MISTI before, and now I have changed to my original MISTI so that I can stamp off the edge of the paper here to continue this geometric design. Putting that acrylic piece down again so that I can pick up my stamp and not mess up the cardstock. And I realized that when I stamp this down, I want a piece of paper behind that. So I'm just going to put that in and line this exactly up where it was before. And then I will stamp that, turn the paper once again, put it exactly in the same spot. I'm just making sure that I line that up with I think it's the 1-inch mark there. And I'll stamp it again, and then I'll move the stamp one more time to stamp the last one. Now this is a pretty stamp on its own. It almost looks like a sun. So you could use this for a lot of different things on a card. You could make a beautiful scene card with this. But today I found that one of the other stamps that's smaller than this, that's similar to this design, fits right inside. So I'm just finishing up this last one here, and now I'm going to go ahead and move to the smaller stamp design. And I'm just realizing how much I need to clean my MISTI. It's time. This MISTI gets a lot of use, so I do occasionally clean it almost on a weekly basis. I'm using my eraser and my surface sweep here to get rid of the little eraser pieces, and now I'm going to go ahead and place that other smaller stamp right in the center. As I'm doing this and turning, I'm realizing these are not exactly going to line up, and it would just be easier if I stamped these using an acrylic block instead of the MISTI. And so I'm going to just change now to an acrylic block, and you'll see just how quick this can go with an acrylic block. Excuse my little wispy hairs here. I'm having one of those hair days. So look at this. Look how easy it is to line up. I'm just barely putting it right on the inside. The points all kind of line up, and it's very, very simple to get this design. That's all there is to it there. I will change this out now. I'm just going to clean that up with my absorber, which is like a stamp chamois. And now I'm going to change to that smaller sunburst or starburst looking stamp. And I'll stamp those on the insides. I did not get a very good impression on that, so I'm trying to be very conscientious of getting even pressure across this whole stamp. And if you make a little mistake, it's okay. You can just use a Copic multi-liner or a black pen to clean up some of those lines. I did erase some of those pencil marks now before I put some color on, And here's where I'm going in with that Copic multi-liner just to fix a few of those that didn't get quite as dark. Now I have a rainbow of colors of these Catherine Pooler inks, which are also some of my favorites. These have more of a sponge kind of surface for the ink. And so I find that when I stamp with these, I get a really good impression, even if I'm just using an acrylic block. I do rely on the MISTI quite often, but these stamp perfectly every time with an acrylic block as well. So that's what I found anyway. I am just going to use a makeup brush to apply these a little bit at a time, and I'll just keep building up that color until I get the darkness that I'm looking for. I really want kind of a soft look with these makeup brushes for the colors. And you can see I'm just going to clean off the color in between from the red to the orange here. And I'll just keep going in this manner until I apply just the right amount of ink for each color. For the yellow, I'm going to go in with a different color of brush, but I don't clean these brushes very often. I usually just wipe them off on a piece of paper. Every once in a while, I will clean them with soap and allow them to dry overnight, but I usually just want to use them right away. But I did find that this brush had a little bit of green still on it, so that for that yellow, I got a little bit of a yellow-green look. So I'll show you how I'm going to fix that in just a minute. But until then, I'm going to go in with the Lime Ricky, which is a beautiful lime green, and we'll just add that right here. I do kind of move back and forth between the colors to get a nice blend. And here's where I'm going to fix the yellow. I'm going to go in with one of these stencil brushes. This is from scrapbook.com, and that gave me a real quick soft yellow color, and it added a little more there for me without having to use my green brush again for the yellow. Now I'm going to continue. I'll just clean up a little bit of this red ink here so I don't get it in with my blues. And I'm going to add some of the aquatini on the end just to finish up. Doesn't this kind of remind you of like a Mexican tile or a Spanish tile? It's really colorful. The design kind of gives you that feeling. So that's why I went with these colors. And I really think that it goes well together. Now I wanted a little more darkness on the edges here, so I'm going to go in with this darker flirty fuchsia, which is more of a purpley pink, and that will add just that amount of pop that I want on that edge. And then for the blue edge, I'm going to also add a little darker blue, which is this blue, Fiesta blue? Yeah, Fiesta blue. So you can see that's going to add a little more darker blue on that edge as well. And it really does make it sing, I think. So just that quick, we've got a colored, fully inked colored background. So easy to do with those makeup brushes and a stencil brush. And now I'm going to stamp out that sentiment. It says, "Next time you think of beautiful things, don't forget to count yourself in." I really liked that sentiment, and I thought it worked well with this beautiful die cut from Concord and Ninth. It's actually Beautiful You, and I'm adding the Beautiful and You that I cut out in white. I'm adding a black shadow to those, and then I'm going to add them to some white fun foam so that they pop up off the card, and then I'll go ahead and glue those right onto the card there. So Beautiful You, next time you think of beautiful things, don't forget to count yourself in. And I hope you can tell there is quite a bit of dimension there with the fun foam and the black shadow on the words. And so I really like that. I'll just now glue down that sentiment strip. I did cut it down so that it just fit the actual sentiment, and I made that sentiment strip go completely across the entire face of the card so that it is the same size. Now I'll just attach that onto a card base that's 110 pound Nina Solar White, which is my favorite for a card base. And here's a close-up look of just how beautiful that card turned out. You can add some sequins or some gemstones if you want here, anything that you want to add some more pop to this card. I thought that it was just perfect as is with all the colors and the design and the dimension. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.